So when I bought this truck, one of the things that intrigued me, besides the price and the really good deal and the fact that it's a Southern truck that's not clapped out, was that it had newer parts on it. It's a 2004 Chevy Silverado. It's got 76,000 miles. Newer battery, newer alternator. Don't know if you can see it in there, but you know, trust me, there's a newer water pump. And typically when I get these vehicles, I start going through them, you know, tune-ups and go through all the fluids. And I was looking at the coolant reservoir, and it's just kind of grimy right over here. And then when I looked into it, it's disgusting down there. There's some sludge, gunk, and sediment. And I've seen this. You take it to a shop, you need a water pump, and typically what they're going to do is they're going to put in the water pump. They'll just drain the coolant enough, or just pop out the pump, let everything spill, throw in a new pump, and then just call it a day. So in this video, I'm going to drain the coolant, put the right stuff in there, the orange coolant, the Dexos, whatever. And I know people have their reservations about it, but in the older GM stuff, that coolant was notorious for rotting out the intake manifold gaskets. These new ones, or newer-ish ones, there's no issue with it. So I've already went ahead and started draining the coolant. And then to my surprise, well, not really a surprise, probably can't see it, but it's supposed to be a petcock down there. And well, guess what? It snapped off. Great. So we had to go the old-fashioned way and just pull out the lower radiator hose. Is it worth replacing the radiator for that? No, not really. I wasn't even gonna mess with it to see what they MacGyvered. I'm just gonna leave it alone for now. Eventually I would like to upgrade the radiator or go with a electric fan, and then you can put the beefy radiator on it. But for now, it's not leaking. We're just gonna leave that as is and flush the system. So I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just disconnect this air duct tube, whatever it's called, if I can get this thing out. There we go. These are 8s. There's another one right up here. And the reason is I'll have better access to the hoses, and also we are going to change the throttle body gasket. Now in the previous video I went ahead and I did the spark plugs, wires, and I also did the valve cover, and I took off the throttle body, cleaned it out, reused the old gasket because I figured it looked good enough. And well, that's bitten me in the butt because I guess the gasket was pinched, and what's going on now is that I got a rough idle, and then when you spray a little brake part cleaner to just kind of check for leaks, it sucks it in right at the throttle body. So yeah, gasket was cheap, but I didn't have it at the time, but now we do. And actually that would actually give me better access to, yeah, I'm glad I did do that, because the hose clamp to kind of get it is on this side, so that's going to give me better access. So we're winning. So it is trash day, so yeah, you know, it's a great time to record a video. So let's go ahead and let's get this hoses off. I am going to take out this reservoir, and here's my thought. We need to clean this. So I want to take this out, flush it, do all that stuff. And then down here, I believe that's a 10 millimeter, so let's buzz that out. And this should, yeah, that's getting ready to slide out. Now we got this one. Let's see if we can get you out. All right. This come off my hand. Perfect, because I'll be able to take this out, clean it outside of the vehicle, and then we'll use this to flush our heater hoses. Now there is a sensor, I guess, for the coolant level down under here, so let's just pop that off. Yep. And by the looks of it, we got another 10 millimeter right over there, miss. So let me get a ratcheting wrench. Right down over here, another 10. And side note, if you're not using ratcheting wrenches, Definitely get yourself one. I can't tell you how many times this thing has saved so much time and headache. Like this one. And they're so cheap now. I mean, even the Harbor Freight ones. I think these are gear wrench. I bought this set years ago. Oh, so this one is a bolt. All right, let's pop you off. Okay. The prize is mine. So the stuff that's coming out of here is just terrible. I mean, I've had clumps, and you could tell that they didn't flush out the old orange stuff and they just mixed it with this green stuff. That's pretty bad. I don't know where the camera picks it up, but see all that junk there, all that stuff in there. That causes problems, folks. So let's kind of do one of these numbers. I mean, as you can see, it's already getting better. It's just blowing that junk right out. So it's actually pretty cool because that means I caught it just in time. So I'm gonna continue just flushing it with this. Another way, if you really want to whiten this up, you can do a combination of some dish soap and bleach, shake it up with some type of agitator. Some people use rocks. I'm just gonna flush it, throw a little soap and degreaser in there, should be good to go. So I'll do that off camera and I'll show you how it looks. So before, and then we'll have after. But yeah, stuff's already coming out. So that's soaking with my happy concoction. That should break it up, make it look a lot better. We're not going for perfect. They're actually $30 on Rock Auto. But if I could get most of the junk out, I think it'd be a lot better than getting an aftermarket one. Is we need to take off all these hoses. So we are changing the upper and lower radiator hose because, well, with all the miles, these things are original. Now this hose is not terrible. It's the original one, GM, but it's got little soft spots, and this is something that while you're there. Now we'll be using those hose clamps, and I'll explain that just a sec, but let's pull you out. Get more of that awful green coolant out, and that way, this way we can flush our heater hoses, get that heater core clean. This top one on, and yes, there is a tool that does this a lot better, but I don't have it. Maybe one day. I always say I'm gonna buy it, but I never do, so that's fine. let's get rid of this. So now this one has those whirring clamps. I hate them. I like the spring clamps. They work so much better. But for some reason they felt it was a great idea just to put this one on and leave the other one normal. And we'll replace this one as well. So now I am going to change the thermostat. And honestly, if you're going to do a decent flush, the easiest way to do it is change the thermostat. I'm pretty sure that they didn't use the OEM one, or maybe they left the OEM one. Either way, I'm going to change it. And if they did use the OEM one, good on them. But these are 210s. They use a bunch of RTV here. What in the world? Will this come out? Yeah. Let's see. This is weird. I guess they reused the old gasket and they just sealed it with silicone. I got a new gasket, so that is awesome. And I'm not mistaken, I'll have to take a look at the other one when we put it back in. I'm pretty sure this is aftermarket. So yeah, I am glad that I am doing this. I can't stand aftermarket thermostats. Folks, unless you're modding or tuning, put the original one in. It just gets rid of so many problems. But now I have the lovely problem of cleaning this freaking thing right here. Unbelievable. Oh well. These use this type of gasket. That's all you need. No silicone, no RTV, nothing, just this. They even have a gasket over here, as you can see right there. So that's great. That's great. I'm just gonna use a blade and scrape this off. I'd rather do it now, that way when I flush everything out, I get all the excess out. Of course, this is not coming out easy, and it's gonna take me a little bit, so I'm gonna work on this and we shall return. So we are nice and clean, got that scraped off pretty nice. Just use the blade just to kind of chisel that off nice and easy, didn't gouge it, and then use the Scotch pad just to smooth that out. And then the housing looks good as new. Now over here on the sides was caked with that antifreeze stuff, so we scraped that out, cleaned that out. If you don't clean that, the gasket's not going to seal right. And maybe that's why they put all that RTV, because it was leaking. Don't know. But anyways, let's move on and let's get this stuff flushed out. So because I have this open and this open, just as a precaution, I just used the legendary Walmart shopping bags, and that'll kind of make sure water doesn't splash in there. So we have this hose and this hose. So all the lines are flowing nice and clean. You keep flushing until you don't see the green or whatever color coolant you have. It's a little trickier when the water pump is on this because you can't go directly to the passages, but I wound up just blocking these two off and then just flowing it through here, the water through the top, and just kept doing it until no more green coolant. Everything's coming out nice. Heater core lines are nice and clean. And even this, even though it doesn't look like much of a difference, considering if you saw the before footage, that looks 100 times better. At least I don't have all that sludge sitting in the bottom like it did before. This stuff right over here, I mean, there's really no way to get to it. There is solvents that you could soak it and clean it, but at that point I'm not going to go crazy or extreme. And number two, I don't have it. So before we start putting everything back together, I need to change out this throttle body gasket. So let's jump on that real quick. Let's 8 this out. Get it? It's an 8? No. Lame joke, I know. Now let's pop this out right over here. These are 10s, there's like 3 of them. Put them in the pocket. That would work. And can I do this? Now, typically you got to take out one of these hoses, but I'm wondering if I could just slide it. Nah, I'd have to take out that hose. Oh, man. Might have been the other one. I mean, either way. I think it might have been this one over here. There's another one right there. See if we can squeeze in with these guys. No, come on. Okay. Now will you come out? There we go. And the only reason why that came out as easy is, like I said, I was here. Now this gasket got pinched somewhere, and it might have been over here. Not 100% sure, but either way, let's change it, and that will fix our little rough idle issue. And the way, like I said, I was able to test it was I just put some brake part cleaner, just sprayed around all the intake, and whatever sucked in and changed the idle, like you spray on it and the idle goes higher, then that tells you got a vacuum leak. Unfortunate. Now let's just take a pick and gently pull this thing out. Ooh, this is crusty. And deceptive, that's for sure. Let's wipe all this off. I already cleaned the throttle body, so that's nice and clean. Just brush this out. Why don't think it's that crusty? Maybe it's been like that for a while. I don't know. Just a bad gasket sucking in excess air. Now typically you blow this out with compressed air, but I don't have that. This will work. It's better than what it was. Go with our nice new blue Felpro gasket. There's your part number right over there, 61070. Works for the 5.3, the 6.0, but notice, oh yeah, it does say 4.8. So they're all the same. Oh yeah, you can tell the difference. Where's the old one? As you can see, slightly thicker. This one feels a little heavier and weighted. All right, slide you right in. And make sure this sits nice and beautiful, just like so. While I'm here, I'm just gonna spray all this in the bottom because it's greasy. Nobody will ever see it, but at least I'll know. That's a lot of oil there. I mean, they must have spilled some heck of oil. I mean, I'm not gonna get this perfect, but I'm definitely gonna get it enough so I could take it to the car show and at least get participation trophy. I think it might have looked better just being all black caked with oil than that. But how does all that oil get in there? Huh. Interesting. If you do, comment down below, let me know. Besides the fact that somebody probably spilled all their oil while filling it. Alright, that's good enough for now. I think in the future we might be taking off the intake for some other work, but I mean, we're good. Alright, let's go ahead and slide that hose in, just like so. Line you up. Make sure that thing sits down where it's supposed to be. Alright, like I said, OEM. It's just the way to go. Now, people change it for high performance and all that other stuff, or I don't know. But it's pretty interesting. GM genuine, made in Japan. You don't see that too often. So let's take a look at the older one. Made in China, made in Japan, so that's obviously better. And this one, 86 degrees, but I mean, looking at it, this is obviously feels a lot heavier, better quality. I like it. Bye bye, China. And to match our Japanese thermostat, we have our Taiwan gasket. thermostat gasket seal 35720 Felpro. Alright, so let's put this on. Now, as far as orientation and everything, and everybody says this goes up, this, that, and the other, the gasket has a notch over here, which is for this little, I guess, air bleeder. I guess that's what you call it. So let's slide the gasket on just like so. I know people say you're supposed to have it up and this way, that way. You need to have it. Where this goes, because if not, then the gasket's not going to seal properly. And you know what, I'll have to look at the footage and confirm, but maybe that's why they went back and RTV'd it, because they just didn't have the gasket properly. But as you can see, it's right over here. That notch allows this thing to sit properly, but if you put it any other way, then what's going to happen is that it's going to keep this thing from moving freely, block it, gasket won't sit properly. So that's the way it's supposed to go, and that's the way it is going. Do what the gasket tells you. And as you see in the housing, it's going to go just like so. And look at that, everything fits perfect. It's like it was made for it. See? And this is going to go mounted like so. And I guess if you think about it, it's mostly towards the top, which is right over here. Some people are like, has to be perfect, but they have this figured out. So before we pop that in, I just want to show this one. This is the gasket that came with it, and this is the aftermarket thermostat. And if you look, it doesn't have that notch. So it's fine because this little bleeder or air valve, I forget what it's called, sits inside over here. But now if you're using the OEM GM one in this weird, and this gasket, then it's not going to work too well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Make sure your gasket has that little notch and it works, and don't use this crap. Just don't use it. Alright, just snug. You do it long enough, you get a feel for it. Yes, there is a torque spec. Don't know what it is, but just gotta use some common sense. You're not gonna manhandle it, you'll break it. Alright, so let's get these hoses on. Let's pop a little silicone, because silicone makes everything so much easier instead of fighting with the hoses. I'll put it right over here. So let's slide this one in, and the angle goes towards the bottom. And the way I know is because the original one tells you, so I'm just gonna follow that. These are the Continental, and I got all my parts from Rock Auto. Primarily curved, cheaper than local, cheaper than the dealer. So we're just using Continental hoses. I've used them for years, never had an issue. Go ahead and get you in, slide you in. All right, let's slide our nice and clean radiator in. Come on, there you go. All right, and don't forget about this connector back over here. Oh, you'll get a low coolant warning. Right over there. This goes for our mass airflow. We're good. And in another video, I went ahead and cleaned that, so we're pretty good over there. I'll just tighten that and move on to the upper radiator hose. It's kind of like a snake. Pretty creepy. Anyways, so if you get the GM one, it comes with where is it at? The clamps right over here, which this one's actually broken. These hold the extra hoses. Comes with the one for the radiator, and even comes with the spring clamps preloaded, but that's like $80 even on Rock Auto. This was $15 Continental. You could transfer it over. All right, so let's load up our grenade pin and pray. There we go. Wasn't too bad. So now, like I said, in the old holes, on the old hose, it didn't have that, so I got it at the junkyard. It's like $1. It's worth it. Same thing here, just lube it up. Just a little bit of silicone, just makes it easy to slide it in, especially when you have the tension of the spring clamp. Even though it'd be a lot of tension in trying to get it in place, this lube, so slide this one in right here, just like so. Same thing, grenade action. You gotta be very careful with these because you don't hold it right, these things go flying and they hurt. So I guess why people don't want to use them, you know, scary, can hurt you, you know. Just be careful. I'm a manly man. I can handle it. Nope, not really. I cried. I snapped on my finger. Slide you in. Just like so. Put back together. Pretty simple. So we're going to put a gallon of the Rain-X bug remover. No, just kidding. So I got the concentrate mix. And then what I do is because I'm always having to use the bug juice remover, I keep one of these lying around. And that's what I use to kind of make my mix. So we are going with the Xerox Dex Cool antifreeze, and let's go ahead and let's pop this in. Got a little carried away on that one. All right, let's fire it up, get it bled. So I've had this running for about 30 minutes. This thing has bled. The level went down just a touch, but not enough for me to be concerned. Thermostat has opened up. This is nice and hot, cool on the bottom, so we got flow. Let's check the heat inside the cab. Nice and toasty. Oh yeah, it's hot in here and it's like already 100 degrees outside. Our temperature is perfect, so our thermostat has opened. We're good to go. And this was pretty easy, so I still got a lot of work I'm gonna keep doing on this. We're gonna deal with the steering clunk. We're gonna be upgrading the front brakes and a bunch of other stuff. I really like this truck, I enjoy it. Only regret is I wish it was the 4-door, but for $4,000 and the condition that it's in, it's a win. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and hope this helps.